everybody, welcome back. We've just started a new series of fly tying on Dollaghan flies, and Dollaghan are big Lough Neagh brown trout, as you can see there, just a reminder what they are. This is the second in the series. The first one was on the executioner, so you can catch up on that. But yes, Lough Neagh, big Dollaghan or Lough Neagh trout, and great fighting fish, and we fish with them very similar to sea trout, so a lot of it's done at night. But yeah, basically there's tied last time that the executioner, there's another pattern which would be almost as good as the executioner, and it's a pattern I do very well with, particularly early in the season. It's called the Pearly Spencer. So here's some variations here, but essentially the main difference between the executioner is that it uses Opal Mirage tinsel, and basically whatever tying thread you're using underneath the body, it shines through and it gives a very nice pearly effect. So essentially it's like a pearl stoat as such. And one night I was fishing with a certain Mark Whiteside, and we got chatting, and we sort of came up with the name Pearly Spencer, so it's sort of stuck. So I call them the Pearly Spencers. But as you can see there from tying, essentially it's very similar to a sort of like a stoat. But what I've done is that I've sort of changed some of the materials just to sort of bling it up a little bit. Yeah, we'll get started and see how we go. So the hooks I like to use for these, well actually just before we start, I'll show you a couple of ones. You maybe saw them briefly in the picture there. But they're nice little flies. As I say, these are fairly small, and they're just nice wee sort of hair wings, and I'd fish them particularly on the dropper, and they seem to work very well earlier in the season, sort of July time. But nice little patterns, and the dog can really do like them. So yes, the hooks we'll be using is these little trout doubles, Camazon trout doubles, B270s. Good little hook, sharp little hook, and nice. Yeah, I quite like them for these sort of patterns. So this is size 12, which would be sort of probably my sort of standard size. Sometimes we'll go down to a size 14, but I say Dollaghan do get pretty big, so you don't want to get too small. The thread I'll be using is UTC, and rather than having a sort of a red thread, I've gone with the pink, just to give it a little bit more contrast and to stand out a little bit. But yeah, we'll get started. So just start behind the head and work our way down the body. So, and for the tag of the fly, I'm going to use some holographic red, and essentially I didn't used to, originally when I started tying these I didn't use the red, but I think it just gives a little bit of an extra trigger point, and it's all about confidence. So I find it just gives the fly an extra trigger point. So just work your way down with the thread to roughly where the barbs are, and then back up again to where the hook points. That's a good guide, and just wrap that tinsel up to that point. And you might have actually seen as well, I started tying that tinsel in towards the top of the fly. When you're tying, as I was mentioned on the executioner, when you're tying any of these patterns with the flat tinsel body, it's important that you don't have any lumps or bumps. So just in the deal, as with the executioner, I like to put a little bit of this UV flash. So just get a bit of that. And as I say, this is a pattern, it seems to do very well when the Dollaghan are fresh in, particularly from sort of July, end of June, July, August. The Dollaghan really seem to respond very well. I've had some tremendous nights with them, 13, 14 fish. When they're coming in the shoals, it can be fantastic. So yeah, the next thing we're going to be tying in then is the Golden Pheasant crest feather. So as with the executioner, the crest feather is this part here of the Golden Pheasant. This bit's the tippets, but it's the crest feathers that we want to use in the tail. So just tie that in. As I say, this is a small fly, so the crest is quite small as well. Tie that on up the body of the fly. This is again lumps or bumps. And then because it is a tinsel bodied fly, I like to use the wire. So just get a length of silver wire. And tie that in underneath the fly. And just work it up to the tag. Right, and then what really makes this difference is, to say, the mylar I use. So this is an Opal Mirage, which gives a really, really nice nice effect when you tie it in. So just get a length of that, lift and lock. Just shorten that slightly. And just wind it down to the head. And as I say, because I'm going to be using that flat tinsel, we want to give it a good amount of durability. So just a little bit of varnish underneath the tinsel. And then just wind that on. And nice touch and turns. And you'll be able to see, so it gives just this really nice effect. It's just a really sort of shiny, pearly body. And as I say, Dollaghan tend to like anything like that. It gives a sort of a bit of flash. So then next with your wire rib, just take that down. Nice turns towards the head of the fly. And just use your thumb and twist that off. And that's essentially the body of the fly. So what I want to do now is just tie in the beard. And again, like we did before, I'm just going to use some cock hackle, and I'll just break off a bunch of these fibers. And this is a small fly, so it's just good to be nice and sparse with the materials. It's the body you want to be shining through. that's it, nearly done. We'll just get a little bit more of our UV flash. So it's quite a simple fly to tie, but very, very effective. And just about the same length as the tail. So that's us just now got our wing to finish. And we're going to be using again our fox squirrel. So just get a nice little bunch of that. So I like using the fox squirrel. I just find it's a nice fine material. Just cut a bunch of that. And yeah, don't want to be using too much of it. And just unwrap pinch and loop. Just place it as you would like it. And then I always do one wrap underneath that head. Just nice sharp pair of scissors. Keep it nice and neat, tight. And a little bit more wax. And then just build up a nice head. But essentially that's our Pearly Spencer. Great little pattern, and this has caught me a lot of Dollaghan over the years, particularly as I say early in the season when the fish are just coming in, low water, early in the season, and it can be a deadly little fly. And then the pink head, I think, just adds a little bit of extra attraction to it. So the final thing then just to do is just put a little bit of varnish on the head, and that's us finished. Sometimes the simplest flies can be the most effective. I mean, I'm sure you could use this for sea trout as well, or even the grills in low water. That's the Pearly Spencer. That's the first version of it. So what I'm going to do is that's the number one. So hopefully you can see that there. Great, nice little fly. And as I say, very, very effective for Dollaghan. And what I'm going to do is there's a second one that I also tie. So we'll quickly tie that up. It's the same idea, but it's just a slightly different way of tying it. Let's straighten that up. Okay, so this same overall sort of pattern, but for this one I use a black thread. And as I say, the idea behind all these flies, so Pearly Spencers, is that it's the tinsel throws up or shows up whatever thread you have underneath. So in this case I've used black, so it gives really a different effect, which is also Very, very nice. So same thing. Just work our way down the body, and we'll get some more of the mylar. Again, just work our way down to the hook points. And you'll be able to see this gives a quite different effect. It just gives a very nice black, what would you call it? Just a really nice shine to it, which is different from when you put the pink underneath it. So again, once I've done that, again, same thing, lift and lock. And you turn to that, back on itself, cut that, and then we get our again our tail. And then work our way up the body again. Counter spin that to flatten the thread, and come round, get some more of our wire. Kind of lengthen that off underneath the hook again, and work our way up the body. Get some more of our mylar. Lift and lock. Work our way down the body. A little bit of varnish. Just to create a nice, it's going to be a very robust and durable little fly. And touch and turns all the way down the body, but hopefully you can see with the opal tinsel over the black, it gives a really quite a different effect from when you had the pink. So yeah, just a different effect. Get our wire. And just work our way down the body like we did last time. Use your nail to twist that. Not quite just as much as that. Twist that. A little bit of wax, just to make sure the beard hackle ties in nicely. And as I say, just make sure that the body is, or the tannin area is nice and flat. Get a little bit more of your cock hackle fibers. and tie those in around the nice sharp pair of scissors. And get our UV flash, lift and lock, pull it back, trim, and then anti-wax. Get some of our fox squirrel. Just get a nice bunch of that. Just take out any rogue feather or rogue fibers. And then set it down, pinch and lip, set it nicely on top, don't turn behind, get our sharp pair of scissors, trim it neatly. And then just build up a nice head. And then just whip finish. That's our second one. As I say, you can see this gives a nice effect, that body. So that is number 2. So hopefully you can see that. So it gives quite a, it is different from that one. Hopefully you can see that, just different body, different shine to it. And then the third one, which I will quickly tie. So really these would be the 3 that I would use. Very similar, but they are each slightly different. So again, just using the same little hooks. And let me see. So this one uses red thread. So again, like the other ones, start the head. And again, using some of the red. And actually, sometimes you use red, but the other colour I actually like using with this one is actually the orange. The orange is, just gives a really nice contrast. So that's quite often what I would do. So you're really just having a play around with the different colours, but they all have the common attribute of using the Opal Mirage, which gives them that body, that pearly body. So I suppose it's a Pearly Spencer series of flies, but Dollaghan are certainly very partial to them. Okay, so then we're going to get our tinsel wire, just our wire for the rib, and work our way down, just as usual, to the tag, and then work our way back up again. And at this stage, what we're going to do, we're going to actually tie in the tinsel, and you'll see why we'll do that in a minute. But so just tie that. Okay, and then now the next thing we're going to tie in is our wire rib, just as usual. And let's tie that underneath, just as we have been doing, and tie that down to the bottom of the fly. Tie that off, and then come back up again. And then what we're going to do is tie in our Mirage tinsel at this stage, and you'll see in a minute why I do that. So again, just lift and lock underneath the fly. And then work our way back up. So you could just tie the mylar just over that body as is, but what I like to do is actually, if you really want it to zing, you can actually put some Glow-Bright floss underneath. So you're basically creating a bed of floss, and that just gives it an even stronger effect. And you'll see in a minute it really does just gives a really, really nice effect. So it's basically a floss body, and yeah, it just gives a really nice finish to the fly. So we're doing a double run just to give a nice vibrant colour. It's a wee bit extra work, but sometimes it does pay off. And just trim that off. And then just get a little bit of, as before, just to make sure we strengthen that. A little bit of varnish. And then get our tinsel. Try not to tangle it as I just did with the wire. And then just touch and turns coming up the body. So all the time it's a variation on the theme, but it works very well. That's another variation of the fly. So hopefully you can see those super little patterns. As I say, just really nice little sort of fish attractors that do really well. Yeah, well worth having some of those in your fly box for Dollaghan. Quite often I would actually, maybe saw a picture in the executioner video, I quite often have that one on the point and that one on the dropper sort of early in the season, when the fish are fresh in and they can work very well. So just variations of on the theme, Pearly Spencers, and hopefully you've enjoyed those. So yeah, that's the Pearly Spencers. The next one I'm going to be doing is 6-mite dabbler. So if you enjoyed these, yeah, join me again to see that one. I suppose that one's a wee bit different from these other. These other have been sort of hair wings, but it's quite a different sort of pattern, a dabbler pattern. But again, works very well for Dollaghan. So yeah, hopefully you've enjoyed that. Subscribe if you want to see some more, and most important, stay safe.